We go into the main topic?
Yes. So our main topic today is Yule, and Merlin is an expert on Yule.
I wouldn't say expert, but
Well,
it's one we do practice.
Compared to the rest of us here, you're an expert.
I see. Well, that's not... Okay. All right, well, Yule.
When does Yule start? I realize this podcast is going to be broadcast a little bit after Yule actually goes on, but give us a little bit of the time frames and how Yule works and all that kind of stuff.
It's the winter solstice. So the 21st of December will be Yule. Traditionally is when it starts. A lot of cultures either leave it just the 24 hours and leave it on the solstice. Some cultures do it from the 21st to January 1st. So it's like this whole season. Yeah, traditionally it's on the shortest day of the year because it is signifying, English is hard again, signifying the death of the god and the rebirth of the sun god. And that's kind of why Christmas picked that time frame for the birth of Christ, because the Son of God is born. There's a lot of similarities there, and those a lot of Christian traditions in stuff for Christmas is actually rooted deeply in Yule, which came rooted from Saturnalia from the Romans. So it's down long time.
And see, the interesting thing is I always thought that Yule was just another name for Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Yule. And so when I really started researching this, I thought, whoa, it's totally different.
It's all pagan.
I know.
It is all pagan. 100% perfect.
But you know what? I don't care, because as long as I get presents, I'm happy.
Right? If you want to celebrate true Christmas, you won't have a tree, you won't have, wreath, you'll have a donkey and fish and flatbread. Because that was what was there when Christ was born. They didn't have Christmas trees, and they didn't have holly berries, and they didn't have any of that stuff.
Right. When I was living in Russia, Christmas was a day you went to church. That was pretty much it. They'd go to church on Easter and Christmas, and for a lot of people, that was enough. Like you said, there wasn't a whole lot of presents. There wasn't, Christmas trees, and that they have a New Year that they celebrate in a similar fashion with Christmas trees and presents and whatnot. But the holiday Christmas itself, it is you go to church, and that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
I need presents, just so you know.
No presents. This is Russian Orthodoxy, of course. But.
Noted.
I'm sounded very, very materialistic, don't I?
I need the gifts.
No, I could be fine without the gifts. Just don't tell Chad that.
So yeah, we celebrate it in our house, but we also celebrate Christmas in our house because we're kind of a mix. We do, at least for us, we do at least one Yule gift, especially for our daughter, and then we save the rest for actual Christmas. So, there's a lot of different traditions that Christmas took from Yule. Like I said, the Christmas tree, the Yule log, the presents. Yule actually was started out in Germany, believe it or not. The Germans started celebrating Yule, but other cultures like England and stuff like that celebrated something very similar to Yule that they just kind of umbrellaed it all into one thing.
Now, when I was reading, it said the Germanic people started doing this in the 4th century. Is that when you would say it originated? Did it start before that, or is that when it started?
It did start before that. It started Yule around that time. Like I said, before that it was Saturnalia in Rome, ancient Rome.
So old.
Yeah.
Right, and it seems
it's old.
A lot. Pretty much everything is based on the seasons, right? And this is the winter solstice, the shortest time of the year. People have been sun worshipping, I guess you could say, for basically since the beginning of time, since religion has been a thing. And so, right, this is marking that rebirth of the sun god. Days are getting longer. That is something that mankind has noted for eons and has celebrated.
It is. And it's actually one of the fire festivals. It's obviously not like Beltane where you're out in the forest and having bonfires. You're more in your home. But you do celebrate with the fire, with the Yule log. The ash is used for many different things, from fertility to protection to, just amulets and charms. So it's one of the fire festivals that are celebrated throughout the year.
I did a little research on the Yule log and some of the preparation. Are there things that you're aware of that you do special for a Yule log, or or do you do that with your practices, Marlon?
We want to. We just don't have a fireplace. So once we are in the area where we can do so, yes. It's typically normally just pure. It's an oak log that is supposed to burn for X amount of time, depending on how long you would like to practice that. Some people did it for 12 hours. Some people did it for a lot longer. Some people kept the fire going for a week. So it's subjective. However, it is bad omen if you let the fire go out. The only way to have a good way is if you snuff that fire yourself.
You know who came up with that bad omen? It was a woman.
It's
because
too cold.
When I get cold, I go down and turn the heat up. I'm like, it's freezing in this house. And Chad's like, it's 70 degrees. And I'm like, 70 degrees is cold when it's 28 degrees outside. A woman came up with that.
It's possible.
And especially the one where you don't snuff it for like a week. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
More than likely.
Yeah.
That sun's got to start coming back out.
That's right. It's a way to kind of coax the sun. Is that correct? Or a way of kind of to encourage this lengthening of days? It's light. It's fire, right?
It's warmth. In fire festivals, it's the time for celebration and warm. And you really can't do that when it's 12 degrees outside. I mean, you can. You'll just be cold.
Yeah. Hence the bad omen.
Yeah.
See how it all connects together? This is making sense.
I mean, it was also a bad omen to blow out the Yule candle. You had to actually snuff it out with tongs or your fingers.
Oh, so that's where that
Not
came
blow
from.
it out, huh?
Could you lick your fingers first, or did you have to be tough and just tough it out?
Well, I always lick my fingers.
I do too. Because that would hurt otherwise.
It would burn. And then you have to go see Doc.
That's right. And I only lick my fingers after eating chicken.
What about Doritos?
Yeah, maybe. All right, Doritos and Cheetos too.
I saw
You
some
win.
interesting stuff about the preparation of the Yule log, and that some people will take different color ribbons, golds and reds and whites, and kind of weave them together and decorate it up, and then put greenery, some evergreens and mistletoe and different things on it. And it didn't sound like it's a set prescribed thing, but it's kind of something that people just want to do, or how they want to do it. That there's not like it has to be done exactly this way. But
Correct.
I thought that was interesting. And then a lot of times they'll use that as a centerpiece at their feasts before the actual Yule burning of the log. And I thought that was interesting because I've had, I've known of Yule logs, and I remember when I was little, we had a little Yule log decoration on our table that my mother had, and it was, a small, 3-inch diameter log. It was maybe 12 inches long and decorated up. And I do remember that. Yeah, maybe my mom was a witch. I didn't know that.
Awesome.
Ooh.
I don't think so, but no, the whole idea of a Yule, of celebrating Yule and the Yule. And the other thing that I thought was interesting about it was people would write little notes and put them in and tuck them in among the ribbons of their wishes and the things that they want for the upcoming year, and they put it in, and it's a little bit like we talked about before, the idea of writing down your goals and making them more concrete, but then putting them in the Yule log, and then it's burned as part of the celebration, and that goes up to, with the smoke. And you can probably correct me if I've got that wrong. But
No, that's in witchcraft and stuff, if you write down something on paper or, conjure a spell and then you burn it, you're actually casting it out through the element of fire and air into existence, into being, into the universe. So it projects it out. So
there's evoking and invoking. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Invoking is something you bring in. Evoking is more along the lines of casting it out.
So that would be evoking that out into the ether. I don't know what the word is. Is that
Into the
correct?
universe.
Depends on the intent, because to invoke it is like, okay, this is what I want to summon to me. So you're invoking something to attract to you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, in a sense, they're two different things.
And I thought that was interesting, both, with the Wiccan and witchcraft, and the idea of just writing down your desires, writing down what you want. Raven did a class with your physical training stuff, and you had your, what was it, the wish board or something like that?
Yeah, they had us do it. I think she called it a dream board. We put our dreams on there. the instructor of the class said, you know, the purpose of this, kind of the thought process behind it, is if you can visualize things and make them more concrete, things will actually happen, as opposed to just the thought rattling around in your head.
And isn't
Law
that
of
magic?
attraction. Yeah,
It is.
it's the law of attraction. That's what that is. Like
Yeah.
if you will something enough, normally it will manifest to you.
Right. And everything
Like-
has come true except for owning a croft in Scotland. That hasn't come about yet, but
Still working on that one.
Yeah,
You've got
it'll-
that little
it'll
piece of
come around.
property in Scotland.
Oh,
huh?
did you buy a 1 foot?
Santa Claus brought me. So technically, yeah, Santa Claus brought me a 1 foot square piece of land in Scotland. So y'all have to address me as Lady Raven now.
Lady Raven. Okay.
Yes, that's my name now.
madam.
I kind of prefer Your Highness, but whatever, madam works.
That works. But no, wishes. A lot of people do wish upon the Yule log. In doing so, they actually have every single person in the family has got to touch it to cast out their wish, whether it be written down or just, like you do on a birthday cake. Just
And-
to yourself.
And then I saw or read some information about that they'll go around and, like you say, invoke or do their wishes, not vocally, and I'm trying to remember what this was, but they went like clockwise first, and then they would come back counterclockwise. Is that something in the way that you do that? Or are you aware
No,
of that?
not myself. No,
Okay.
I've not heard of that, but I can't say I'm surprised. Everything is in circles.
Mhm.
Life is a circle. The seasons is a circle. Like to start a spell, you cast a circle, whether it be a day or nocturnal. So circles, it doesn't surprise me.
You just brought up circles. I was reading about different symbols of Yule, the wreath being a big one, which is
Christmas
circular.
wreath?
Yes.
A circle.
Christmas wreath / Yule wreath. And then it was a symbol of, completion in the beginning of another cycle. Kind of a rebirth symbol once again.
Hey, but
Yeah.
Raven bought some square wreaths. We've got some square wreaths downstairs.
I do. They're
I got
square.
nothing for you on that. No, circles, guys. Circles.
You broke the matrix.
Sorry. But they look cute.
Anything else you guys wanted to
So-
inject here?
So when I was doing my research, it talked about the Yule log, and I thought, okay, I've heard about that, heard of Yule, but then I read about things like a Yule goat and a Yule boar, and I just tell you, I've been missing out. What is about the Yule goat?
A goat has horns. A boar has tusks or horns. The horned god typically is celebrated
Fertility?
this time of year as well. Yes, fertility, indicating the Christmas tree was a symbolic of the horned god's erect penis, which is why you put balls on it to decorate, and it rebirths with Mother Earth to bring back the sun god.
So every time
So-
people put Christmas balls on their tree, they can think about a phallic symbol.
Exactly, but people don't realize that. I actually worked with a guy whose family would not let him have a Christmas tree because of the way he wanted to decorate it was less than appropriate.
Or was
Or
it
was it?
appropriate? That's the real
Well,
question
for the
here,
season,
guys.
it was appropriate, but it was not for the family.
Maybe not socially acceptable.
It wouldn't have been in a Disney film.
21
Well,
and older.
maybe.
Maybe subtly in a Disney film.
Right. I mean, you got that Little Mermaid thing. I mean, yeah, the cover of that movie. Eek.
I know what you're talking about. It was innocent.
So one thing I found interesting is I was reading a lot about this. Yule, like I said, I always thought it was just another word for Christmas, which I have learned that it is not. It's about the same time, but they're different. But Yule is celebrated in heathenry, which sounds bad, but heathenry, I mean, we use the phrase, oh, you're such a heathen, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And neo-paganism and even Levian Satanists, which we discussed not too long ago, about 6 months ago on our podcast.
I actually listened to that one.
Yeah. And they use it, they don't want to celebrate Christmas, and so they celebrate Yule, which, when I say it's essentially the same thing, it's, they're so intertwined that they're essentially the same thing.
Right. Almost every Christmas symbol is a Yule symbol. I mean, wreaths, Christmas trees,
Well, and
bells, all that stuff.
The colors.
The colors.
The reds, the silvers, the golds, the
The greens, yeah.
Yeah, I love looking at, and seeing just all the different cultures and how they they've got the same symbolisms in there and just how they adapt it to their culture. So, for example, in the Egyptians,
In the Egypt.
in
the
the Egypts,
Egypts.
yeah. See,
multiple.
Merlin, you're not the only one that English is hard. Holy cow! In the Egyptian culture, they would do the return of the sun god Ra and thank him for warming their crops because they were so agriculturally in there. They did a lot of candles. They did bonfires. You know, the Romans would get involved in debauchery. Imagine that, Romans being debaucherous people. But they would, they were into lighting the candles and lighting the oils in their lamps. And just depending on where you are, just seeing all the symbols of light. Celebrating the return of the sun and just seeing how that is in all the different cultures, I thought was interesting.